Yo, what up? It's Aaron Moses. Now I don't want to make this too long, but I just sat and watched the bond hearing for Young Thug for a good 4 or 5 hours, bro. It was a 10-hour live stream, and I think I caught it at 2 or 3 hours after they started. The prosecutor did their job. The prosecutors did their job. The first lady was reading her little cases for probably 15 minutes, referencing other cases and all of that. And Thug had two different representatives. I don't think they were his actual lawyers, but they were. I was pretty disappointed in what they were doing. Now, the prosecutor, of course, like the homie said, I watched. I think his name's Seti Nash. Shout out to him, man, because I watched both the actual live footage of the case, and I watched his a lot because I was not following. I did not follow the legal jargon as well as I hoped I would be able to, and what was going on. I'm not gonna break down everything, but at first, it was looking bad because five of the people that got arrested, they shared one lawyer, which there was gonna be some slippery territory right there. But then after that, the judge looked past that and they went forward with the bond hearing. What happened was, what really buried him was, number one, just more so bias from the judge, I believe. They used his lyrics, which is very concerning, especially as a rap artist. Now, I'm not into criminality, but at the end of the day, they are criminalizing hip hop at this point, which is not good, not good at all. Are you gonna get mad at an actor for playing a gangster in the movie? Are you gonna get all these, just like the other dude said, all these country people talking about getting drunk and hitting people with their cars because they heard they were sleeping with their wives, and they shot these people and all the metal and all of that. Like, people, there's violence in all these different genres. What'd you say? Yes. But at the end of the day, um, the prosecutor read some lyrics out of context. He paraphrased the lyrics. I think the most important lyric, being the one that the judge actually used as an excuse to not give him a bond, where I don't know the song in particular, but at the end of the day, he was saying, in the song, Thug was saying, people go to court and lie on the stand every day, and if you do something like that, then you should be killed. Something to that effect. But he wasn't saying if you go to court and you snitch, you should be killed. He didn't say if you go to court you should be killed, which is pretty much, the prosecutor paraphrased a lot of things, took a lot of things out of context and just used that the magnitude of the of the perceived violence in the song and presented just those parts. Okay. The person who was representing Young Thug, the people, yes, they made good points. Thug was not the only person on the song. Thug does not write all his lyrics. Most artists don't. Am I saying he has ghostwriters? He has a team of writers, just like everybody else, right? At the end of the day, we don't know who wrote those lyrics. We don't know the context. We don't know the lines before that or after that. But at the end of the day, pretty much, this is a black judge too. Pretty much what he was saying was Thug is a flight risk because he has money. He said that the three things that bail and bond is based off of is a threat to the community, the the suspicion of you being a flight risk, and you actually violating the you violating the I forgot the word. I'm sorry, I'm lost. You violating the bond, pretty much doing something outside of the agreement that you have with the bond. Now, Thug's bond was going to be contingent on him having no internet access, no phone, No company, can't go outside, ankle monitor, video surveillance, and $1 million paid to the Fulton County Sheriff Department, allowing up to 60 police to be on call to watch his crib, 3 different shifts, 24 hours a day, patting down and metal wanding. You know, when you go to the airport and they put the wand on you to see if you have any metal on your body. Any visitors outside, including his family, if there were any women that were going to come on the premises, it had to be at a designated time because they need a female officer, of course, to pat these women down and to search them. He could have a studio, he could have a camera, but that has to leave the premises by the end of a certain time, or with the people who brought it in. No drugs, random drug tests, random searching of the crib, random drug dogs walking through. No way that he could be able to commit any crimes. And the judge pretty much took the lyrics, the paraphrased lyrics, mind you. He wasn't reading off the lyrics that were actually there. He was reading off the lyrics that prosecutor, the nigga that's trying to keep him in jail, presented to him, right? At the end of the day, Thug had he had 6 character witnesses prepared to speak to his character, to say what he's done for the community and things like that. Now, that didn't really mean anything to the judge. They were all black. One was one of the CEOs of 300. I think he's a co-CEO of YSL, Young Stoner Life, which the prosecutor kept saying stands for Young Slime Life, and they call Thug King Slime, whatever. A 15-year-old boy that he said inspired him to be a motivational speaker. He did his thing. He spoke very well. I was very proud of that young black man. And then another guy that was a CEO of a non-for-profit organization that coaches young football players and young cheerleaders from the ages of 5 to 13 in the Cleveland community, where Young Thug is originally from, right? He was speaking about how they throw random barbecues for the community, how he buys the people food, clothes, shoes, and if anybody has any entrepreneurial endeavors that he would contribute to that person's lifestyle, as far as them trying to get it together, how he employed thousands of people since 2012, and that he opened up studios, gave a lot of people jobs, brought people's families on tour with them. He had a chance to work with Kanye West, but because he couldn't bring his family to, visit and with Kanye West to work on that project, he opted to not do it because he chose his family. Thug had no reason to be seen as a flight risk. His whole family's here. This man has 6 kids, and he has a career. He turned himself in every time that he had any kind of legal troubles, never ran. When he found out he had a warrant in Atlanta, when he was on tour with J. Cole in Las Vegas, he immediately flew back to Georgia and turned himself in. Those lyrics, that's his art. That's a persona. His name is Jeffrey Williams. It does not say Young Thug on his birth certificate. Okay, at the end of the day, I think the judge was wrong. I think he was wrong in actually relying on some make-believe lyrics to speak to his character and to speak to the amount of danger or flight risk that he would be. I think if he was that much of a flight risk and that big of a threat to society, he would have knew that he was about to get indicted, and they would have had nowhere to locate him at in the first place. I think that there was some kind of way for him to find out that he was going to be indicted, or somebody was going to come in and do what they needed to do to him, and he would have already been in Costa Rica. He would have already been in France somewhere trying to get his papers together so he'll never have to come back to the States, and brought his children with him. I think if it was that big of a deal, it would have been done. I think it was very unfair, very biased, and I think the judge, one of those rappers, somebody grew up in So I think it's something happened. I think it's a personal thing, to be honest. And I don't think he used logic. I don't think he did his research. All those times they took those recesses, he didn't Google these lyrics himself. He didn't. He didn't do any of that. He just took the prosecutor's word for it. The prosecutor didn't have anybody on their oath, anything like that. And again, I'm not a super jailhouse lawyer or anything like that. I'm not a pre-law. I don't even know if that's the right term. I'm not a law school student. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not any of that. I know a little bit about the law, just being in and out the system since I was 15. But other than that, I think it was very unfair. Free Young Thug, free the whole YSL, and the representatives of Thug at that time. I don't think they did their job. This man literally said, "Well, you can't take those lyrics into account. What about this? I'm red like Elmo, but I don't never giggle." Why would that be the lyric that you use? Like the homie said he said. This nigga said, "I eat ice cream with my chicken, bro." He says a lot of stupid shit in his lyrics that aren't necessarily true. But at the end of the day, the prosecutor did his thing, and free Young Thug. That judge, bro, he needs to get a whole new. I would request a whole new judge, to be honest. he clearly, he clearly is biased, and you cannot expect people's lyrics to be a reflection of their total life, their lifestyle. Shout out to Young Thug. And it's a sad day in hip hop, man. It's a sad day. They need to pass that law they just passed in New York, where you cannot use a rapper's lyrics against them in a court of law, because number one, that's not gonna happen to all artists. That's not gonna happen to painters. That's not gonna happen to country singers, rock musicians, R&B singers. That's not going to happen. I mean, they might have did it against. They probably did it to R. Kelly at some point, but that's only gonna more so happen for black artists, namely rappers. That's not gonna happen to painters that painted all this crazy ass abstract ass shit that has killed people, and they didn't bring up their paintings. They don't bring up these things for comic book drawers. They don't bring up, the most they bring up for other people outside of the non-black community is probably social media posts. That's about it. And that's pretty obvious that that's them, that's not their persona. But when you're in that mode, when you're Young Thug in the studio, that's not a reflection of Jeffrey Williams. And that's a horrible, it's horrible that that was allowed to be even presented during a fucking bond hearing. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and it's not what it's not. It's Aaron Moses. I'm the band, you the band, we the band together, man. Leave your thoughts on this case. It's if you go, I'll put the link in the description if I remember. Comment your favorite Young Thug song, bro. Mine is On the Run, unfortunately. It is what it is. I'm the band, you the band, we the band together, man. Life is in the breath. Breathe it in. Peace.